Howdy, folks. I'm Salty Greenland Shark, sneakily snapping at swooping swans.
I'm Amber.
And here are more swooping swans for us to sneakily snap at. And I mean, like, they're swooping into the water, I guess, like swans do. And we are snapping at them. We're like Jaws, but
Yeah, I didn't mean that kind of snap. I just meant like snarky comments, but
oh, well, you should have said that before I had a mouthful of swan. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Blowing Up at My Sister After She Lied to Our Parents That I'm Pregnant from a One-Night Stand? I don't know where to start. I'm still shaking from how angry I am. This happened a couple of days ago, and I can't get it out of my head. I'm a 26-year-old female, and I've always had a complicated relationship with my sister, a 23-year-old female. We're not exactly best friends, but I never thought that she would do something like this to me. So out of nowhere, I start getting these weird texts from my aunts and cousins, stuff like, we're here for you, and everything happens for a reason, just be strong. And I'm like, what? I ignored them at first, but then my mom calls me and straight up asks, Sweetie, why didn't you tell us you were pregnant? I actually laughed at first because I thought that she was joking, but nope, she was serious. I told her that I have no clue what she's talking about, and she goes, Your sister told us everything. You don't have to be ashamed, we just want to support you. At this point, I feel like I'm in some alternative reality. I told her that I'm not pregnant, and I've never had a one night stand, and I have a boyfriend who I've been 100% loyal to. My mom got really quiet and just said, oh, like she didn't even know what to believe. So I called my sister right away, and she didn't answer. I called again and again. Finally, she picks up and acts all casual, like nothing happened. I asked her what in the world she had told mom and dad, and she had the audacity to say, well, I was just worried about you. Worried about me? Worried about what? This made no sense to me. I kept pushing, and finally she admitted that she had told them that I had had a one night drunken stand, and that I had gotten pregnant as a joke, of all things, and that I was too scared and ashamed to tell anyone the truth after that. Even told them that she suspected it for weeks and was just trying to prepare them for when I really finally came clean. I lost my mind and I asked her why she would even think and make something up like that, and she goes, I thought you would be grateful that I was trying to get mom and dad to be supportive of you. Are you serious? I screamed at her, I called her a liar, a manipulative bee, and I told her that she was disgusting for spreading rumors about me that could literally ruin my relationship. My boyfriend is amazing and trusts me, but what if he had heard this from someone else first? What if this got out to my job? The sheer humiliation of having my entire family think this about me makes me sick. She started crying and saying that I was being mean to her and overreacting. Then she tried to turn it around on me, saying, if it's not true, then why are you so mad? Like, what? I told her that she's dead to me, and then I hung up. Now she's playing the victim and telling everyone that I verbally attacked her and made her feel like garbage. My parents finally believe me now, and also had a big argument with my sister about spreading those lies around. Am I the jerk for refusing to let this go? Alright, folks, what do you think?
no, not the jerk. I mean, what she did is unforgivable. It sounds like she knows this was a lie. Now, if she didn't, I would be concerned about her mental health, and it might be time for a mental health evaluation. But if she understands this wasn't true, then she was playing some kind of game here. And I'm wondering if OP's boyfriend is really great, and if she was like, I want him for myself. Let's spread this elaborate lie.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of angles here, right? One, I think that she could be having some mental health troubles, right? This could be a pretty serious thing, especially since the way she was talking to OP was like, oh, I thought that I suspected this for a long time and figured that you were just a matter of time before you came out to everyone. That's a little bit of delusional thinking, right?
Well, I thought that was what she told the parents. I didn't think that was what she meant for OP.
Hmm. I mean, I guess it depends on whether she said that to OP or if this was to the parents or what have you, right? Um, but the fact is, if she does sincerely believe this or had like a vision or, any number of things, then this is something that I think the family should look into evaluating her for, right? But like you said, if she knows this was a lie and she just made it up, then yeah, OP is not at all in the wrong for cutting her off, right? And as for her motivations, if this was a lie, I think the boyfriend's a good motivation. I mean, I think that that may be something that could be something that she would be trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's also, of course, just some people just like to watch the world burn. She might
Yeah.
have a grudge against Opie for some other reason. There's any number of possibilities that it could be, but I don't think Opie should have to stay in contact with someone who spreads vicious gossip about her.
Agreed, agreed. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, My Girlfriend Said No When I Proposed. Now she wants us to go to counseling instead. I'm all over the place right now because of this. I'm sorry if this is all over the place. I proposed to my girlfriend 2 days ago and she said no, and she wants us to go to counseling. She brought up us going to counseling before, but she dropped it. I thought that she dropped it because she thought it was a bad idea. But I was so psyched because I thought that we would get engaged, but now she doesn't want to marry me. I'm a 26-year-old male and I've been with her for 3 years, a 24-year-old female. I'll call her Katie for this post. Katie is amazing and I don't want to be with anyone else but her. But I can't wrap my head around this. When she blew up the proposal, she said that she's sick of feeling like she's living on a roller coaster with me. She says that I'm too invested in the team. Katie told me that it's a cycle. Katie said that my favorite team drafted a quarterback last year, and after that, I was on a high. But then my team only won 5 games this year, and her exact words are that I'm downright miserable. That's what Katie thinks. She said that I probably need to talk to a therapist about why I thought that our relationship was in a good place where I thought about getting engaged. Things were fine between us before this. Katie doesn't even watch sports, and she only knows about things like drafts because of me. But she said that I was miserable because the team was having a bad year this year. Katie said me being on a high after the draft is almost annoying. And this week, my team hired a new coach. The fans have high hopes, but Katie sees the cycle is starting again, and she can't do it again. I know Katie doesn't watch sports, and I don't think it's a bad thing for a fan to be invested in a team. Katie said that I have to go to a therapist to work on my emotional regulation around sports. She says that I'm putting my feelings about my team on everyone around me, and she's sick of tiptoeing around me. She also talked about how when the team beat out a rival at the end of the year, and how for weeks I acted like they had won the Super Bowl and I was insufferable. I admit that I was excited about it, and it was the first time in years that we beat this team. Katie doesn't even watch sports, but she was mad, and she was telling me that my team wasn't even going to go to the playoffs when the other team was, so I was blowing the win out of proportion. She doesn't get how big of a win this was, and her bringing up counseling over this is honestly ridiculous. She said that it's annoying how I'm acting like my team is the best right now because we have not even done anything. So now she says the cycle is starting again because of the new coach, and I think the team will win the Super Bowl next season, and she can't deal with it again. The only people who understand are the people who watch sports. People who don't are on Katie's side. Our relationship is not the same since my failed proposal. Katie told me that she's tired of my mood being decided by the whims of a sport and that I need to stop making football my identity. Katie says that she doesn't want to break up, but it sure does feel that way. Usually, when someone says no to a proposal, it's a pretty clear sign. Everything I posted is what Katie said. I'll vent here and talk to my friends and family about what to do. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I think Opie should take Kitty up on that option to go to couples counseling. And I think Opie needs individual therapy.
Yeah.
It is clear that he does not have the emotional regulation he needs. And emotional regulation is very important in a healthy relationship. You cannot put your emotions on your partner like that. Like, we all get overly emotional at times. But if it's a constant thing where if your team does well, you're over the moon. If your team does poorly, you're, treating other people poorly. That's not a good way to be living your life, and it's not fair to the people around you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a constant bad mood because your sports team isn't doing well, then you might want to look into counseling for emotional regulation, right? I mean, I think like you need to learn how to manage your emotions and not take out your feelings on other people who are around you. And I also kind of want to point out some of the language that OP used here. Like, he mentioned 3 or maybe even 4 times that she doesn't watch sports, right? And I think those kind of repetitive language kind of indicate that this is something that's actually kind of important to him in the matter of whether she can judge this right or not, right? And the fact that he said that this is ridiculous, that she would even say that he needs counseling,
Right,
right?
and that he's going to go talk to his friends who are presumably other sports people.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like he does not have a healthy relationship with the sport. Like, you can enjoy sports without, berating your partner and mistreating them.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it boils down to here. He didn't do what she asked. She asked him to go to therapy. He never went, and now he's surprised Pikachu face when she's like, "You didn't go to therapy. This was what I outlined for us to move forward in our relationship." And so I think that he needs to listen to her, and maybe even they need to go into couples therapy to kind of work on talking and communication.
Yeah, and I mean, he can keep ignoring her suggestions, but he's going to find himself single very soon if he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, well, everything's fine. You're not looking at it from the perspective of your partner. You need to be able to step outside of the relationship. If she is constantly, like, her life is always based on your moods, and your moods are ever changing based on your sports team, that's a lot for her to take in. And
Yeah.
it's not a fair burden, especially if this team notoriously does badly. That means most of the time you're insufferable for her to be around her, or
Yeah.
for her to be around.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Wise and Slow says, so Katie says that you need couples counseling and you dismissed it. She has outlined very clearly how your investment in sports negatively impacts her and you dismiss it. You must be incredibly checked out if you think that you're at the point of being in engagement and she's this miserable. And Penniless Pirate says, this is one of those classic posts where the guy cries she broke up with me for no reason. I thought our relationship was perfect, and then proceeds to describe 100 ways in which they were disrespecting their partner and blatantly ignoring their needs, and now have a surprise Pikachu face when they leave. And Thank You Next 13 says, my friend, it's like she told you all the ways to fix your relationship, but you're like, it's too much work and I don't want to. Why can't you just love me for me, even though you're treating her terribly? You should go to counseling, if not prepare to lose her forever. Because I'm telling you, mate, right now, she has one foot out the door. And Smacked with a Ruler says, and that one foot that remains in the door must have a lot of muscle because it seems to be doing all of the heavy lifting in the relationship. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Reconnecting with My Estranged Family for the Sake of Getting a Marriage Proposal? My boyfriend insists on meeting my parents, but I'm estranged from my entire family. We've been together for almost 3 years, and we've been living together for a half a year. For the past maybe 1.5 years, whenever the topic of marriage comes up, my boyfriend mentions how he would want to meet my parents and let them know his plans to marry me before he proposes. The problem is this, I'm 100% estranged from my family, and he knows this. So I can't really be like, hey family, who I don't know and I don't talk to at all, here's my boyfriend. We're here to get your blessing. It wouldn't even mean anything to me anyways. I don't talk to them, and they're not an active part of my life, and haven't been for several years. So why should their opinions matter to him? He may as well ask the next door neighbor for my hand in marriage. I've seen and talked to them more than my own family over the past several years. I'm beginning to feel resentful towards my boyfriend because at this point, I don't know if he's just using meeting my family as an excuse to drag out proposing. He already knows that I have zero contact with my family, so it seems unfair to put that kind of condition on proposing. Also, the idea of opening my life back up to all the chaos and drama and stress that came from my family gives me a little more than anxiety. And I've explained this all to him as well. My mental health skyrocketed once I took a step back from them. I hate saying that, but it's the truth. And I feel like it should be my choice if and when I want to reconnect with my family. And it's not something that I'm doing just because I feel like it's a hoop that I have to jump through to get a proposal. He hasn't flat out said that this is the reason he hasn't proposed, but as I said, the topic has come up casually in prior conversations, and we've discussed a general timeline of when we would be engaged by, and that timeline has come and gone, and I can't think of / haven't been given any other reasons why he hasn't proposed. To me, he shouldn't be allowing people he's never met that I have no contact with or relationship with to dictate if / when he's going to propose to me. As the 3-year mark gets closer, I'm realizing more and more that I'm not willing to stay in this relationship for another year or even 6 months if he still hasn't proposed. But I also can't guarantee that I'm going to go magically reconcile with my family just so that he can meet them and then check this off his list. It wouldn't be fair to me just to reconnect with my family and introduce them to my boyfriend so that he can get what he wants, and then ultimately go back to not talking to my family again to protect my peace. Why reopen the wound for everyone? So, where does this leave us? He's extremely close with his family, so I feel like he has a hard time understanding what it's like not to be close to your family, no matter how many times and ways I've explained it to him. So, am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, and I would seriously think about getting out of this relationship. Best case scenario is he's using this to push off the engagement timeline indefinitely. If that's what he's doing, then he's not being honest with you and is being kind of manipulative there because he knows something he knows you won't do. And so he can just delay, delay, delay. Worst case scenario, he actually wants you to reconnect with your family. He's not taking you at your word that they're so horrible to your mental health and wants to use this as like a little like, oh well, they were fine when I met them to ask for your hand, so we need to invite them to the wedding. We need to, have them there for the birth of our child. And before you know it, he's going to have your family at everything.
Yeah. I would say OP should talk to him first, right? Find out what his motivations are, kind of try to bring up the topic and be like, hey, I know you haven't proposed yet. I was wondering if is it because I haven't reconnected with my family? And if his answer is yes, then I think that OP should leave this relationship, because he shouldn't be trying to force her to reconnect with the family, right? And if this is all that he's waiting on and that this is like his one requirement, then he isn't sensitive enough to OP's needs to be a good partner, right? So I think that OP needs to find out his reasoning before they break things off. If this is just he hasn't found the right way to propose, or he's waiting for something special, or there's some other reason that it's blocked for him, then people sometimes have a hard time proposing or finding the right occasion, right? But again, so for me, it just depends on what his motivations here are.
Well, as far as I can tell, she's asked him repeatedly, and that's the one thing he will say is, I won't do it until I meet your family and get their permission.
The language here in their post was a little unclear in places, so I wasn't sure if this was something that he's said recently, because she said, I've talked to him a while back, and he said that he wanted this, and then I can't think of any other reason why he would. So maybe I'm just misinterpreting what OP said here, but it felt like this was something they talked about a long time ago and it hasn't been brought up again. So it doesn't hurt to, I think, plumb those depths, try to find out, use some communication, see if this is his reasoning, and if it is, give him the boot. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it's tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What do mathematically inclined bats say?
Well, I would say that mathematically inclined bats probably still squeak in order to echolocate. I don't think they actually have grasped human language or a language of their own for that matter. So just because they're mathematically inclined doesn't necessarily mean they also have like language inclined bats. So I would say they don't say much.
You say E, 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 because it's EJ, 2.7.
Yes. So apparently bats are now mathematically inclined because they like the symbol E,
The
which
transcendental
yeah, the
number E.
transcendental number E, which is 2.71 something 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 something.
It's also National Fettuccine Alfredo Day.
I think that's one that people can get behind a little bit more.
I think they can, but I had to put the joke in there because I thought it was cute.
So here's the thing: is like pie people can get behind because they're like, oh, pi pie, we can eat pie, right? Now, if you could somehow relate E to fettuccine, I don't know, then you might be able to get people on board with the transcendental number. And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, folks. Fantastic Friday. I hope you're off to a great start on your Friday. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. So please have it on how to ruin a proposal.
Well, the best way to ruin a proposal is to not take your partner's needs into account, such as by being really bad to them most of the time when your sports team is not doing well, and or being insufferable when they're winning, and putting unreasonable demands like getting into contact with a strange family.
Yeah, and the best way to ruin a proposal is by lying and saying that someone has had an affair and is pregnant. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.